So how long has the business been running now?
Officially a bit more than 6 years, but the idea when we had it, like that was 6.5 years ago.
Oh, cool. So how would you be happy to almost share your journey the past 6 years? And the reason why I ask is that it's when, this can help inspire a whole new generation of people going through their own journey. That it's when you can also look back, because this will be saved on YouTube in 10 years time when you're a multi-billionaire, and actually you can see the journey. So it's always good to kind of document it. But I'd love to know how you went from getting started with your co-founder through to
Yeah,
kind of where you are now.
yeah. I'll obviously summarize a bit, because very often when you sort of hear these stories, they're summarized to such an extent that it seems like, whoa, everything just happened. Um, to give you a bit of an idea, it was in April, May 2014. We were working on that other company when we had this idea. And the other co-founder in that company sort of, he was getting a bit enough of it. He wanted to go back more to consulting, and we stumbled upon this and we were very excited about it, and we started thinking. And one of the first things we saw was that, we need to be able to spend a lot of time on it. So somehow we need money from somewhere. And we started looking on the internet, and there was this thing called Kima 15 from Kima Ventures at the time. I think Kima Ventures still exists, Kima 15 doesn't. And for 15% of your company, they would give you 150K in 15 days. So it would be all very quick, was a dream. And we started reading, and they said, like, okay, we prefer companies that follow the book Getting Real by 37 Signals, Jason Fried and stuff. So we read that book. It was very interesting about a bit of a leader approach to starting a company. Not building the whole software immediately, but starting with something very small and going from there. So what I did was I made a presentation for Kima, 10 slides, I think, or maybe 12, with our vision and how we're going to attack it on very brief. And my co-founder Levin, he made a prototype that we could show to people. Just something, the smallest possible thing which we could make. It didn't even do anything, but we could show it to people and go
Sell
from
a
there.
dream.
Yeah. So we did that initially. Kima said we were too early stage when they got our application, which was true. We were very early stage. And but from there we applied to an incubator and accelerator. And it was when we got in this incubator that we were together with a lot of startups. That was amazing. It helped us a lot to learn from others what they were doing and how we could move forward quicker. And as a sort of sidetrack in the beginning, we thought, well, marketing a CRM is going to be hard, or a sales platform, or whatever we had in mind. Let's maybe build something easy first, launch that, and then go from there. And we made a document tracking system, and we launched that, and we got in the press and stuff, and we got quite some people on it. But it was sort of, it delayed our development of the CRM, obviously, because for 2 months we were working on that. If I would do it all over again, I probably would have skipped that part.
Okay.
And then we got into an accelerator, which was good because what we had been doing up till then was we were sort of selling the dream to everyone, and then everybody would say, like, would start picking the dream apart, like, have you thought about this? And have you thought about that? What we didn't do was going about it in a systematic way, which we started doing when we got in the accelerator, was really like doing customer interviews, is like making a conscious mapping of who do we want to interview, which sectors, which size of companies, which positions, what are the things we want to understand from them, and then organize that in a CRM pipeline and just go like interview as many as possible. And at the end of every conversation, like, ask which other people should we interview. And I interviewed about 40 people, I think, at that point. And the conversations were about So you do sales, what do you sell? What are the issues with sales? How do you use software in your sales process? And what are issues with software? To summarize very, very
Hmm.
briefly, which gave us a very good idea of what was going wrong and what our software should do. But it also made that we had a lot of opinions which
Yeah.
we had to
Yeah.
unite. And at the start, that's very hard. Like as soon as you get started and you start getting feedback, then you have a sort of a solid feeling of where you're going, then it's much easier to say, okay, this is lower priority, this is higher priority. But when you're at the beginning, it's very hard to then take all that and reunite it into your vision. And we had issues with that, I would say, for a few months to then really figure out like, where is this going? But then we started building. This was around end of 2014. It took us a year. I think it took us 4 months until we had something that people could use.
Hmm.
Nobody wanted to use it. And then a few months later, I think there was one guy probably actively using it next to me. And then a few months from there, we got somewhere in the press. It was a marketingfacts.nl, a Dutch online magazine. And they described us as some CRM that filled out itself, a living thing. And we got a call from a Dutch guy with a rather big IT company, and he said, "Well, I read this article. I have this huge issue with my Microsoft Dynamics here. Like my salespeople are really not using it. And I read that your thing it's new, but it might solve my issue." And that was our first customer.
Oh, cool.
But by then we were end of 2015 already.
So how big is the company now? How many, how big's your client base?
We're now more around 2,000 plus companies using the software
Wow.
actively.
Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, but
And
it goes slowly at the beginning. So we went, I think the end of the year was 3, and then the next year we ended with 20 or 30 maybe. And then, it's a long journey to develop that.
but that's still, it's great to share that knowledge so that if someone was to start their own tech company, don't expect within the first year to have 2,000 companies. It might be 3, 20, 200, 2,000. It could be a hockey stick. And it's
Yeah.
good to kind of prove it.